talk about this idea around getting a feel for it. Um, there's a lot of conversation in the coaching community about feelings. I know Sid Banks, who's the Scottish mystic that started the three principles understanding, talked about follow the feeling. Um, and getting a feel for it. And I heard this originally. Well, first of all, I thought, okay, is there a particular feeling that I have to follow? And it turned out it wasn't a particular feeling. I just needed to notice feelings, like notice the change in feelings in particular. And the notion of getting a feel for it, I remember hearing that first when I was learning how to sail. I got a sailboat, never knew how to sail, bought a sailboat, and then got somebody to basically show me the ropes, how to sail, and literally show me the ropes, because the ropes have got all these different names, and the sails have got different names, so there's lots of things to learn. But what was interesting was there's principles in sailing. Aerodynamics is part of it. How the boat's designed, right, in specific ways. There are sort of guiding principles. And each boat is designed, even though they look similar in shape and in appearance, they're all designed differently. Even the boats that are in the same class, come from the same mold, there's differences in them. And I love the analogy of using a sailboat as a metaphor or an analogy to how we sort of, quote, navigate through life. So while there's principles always in action, so in other words, anybody really could just go ahead and sail. Intuitively, you can kind of figure it out, and you can get a boat to move. But it wouldn't be at the optimal. And what I didn't know was that there's hull speeds, there's optimal conditions, all these different things kind of play into it. But what was really important, and what was drilled into me constantly from the coaches that helped me learn how to sail, was that you needed to get a feel for it. And the only way you could get a feel for it was to go out and sail. It makes sense, right? I mean, you can read all the books, you can study this, and I've watched videos about sailing and all these other tactics, but until you get out there and get a feel for it, you're not experiencing, you're not really learning anything. And it's such a great metaphor for life, because if you're not in it, if you're not participating in it, then you can't get a feel for it. And just like in sailing, you start to understand that conditions are constantly changing, so that you can't just set the sails and then point yourself in a direction and forget about it. It doesn't work that way. 10 minutes from now, the wind changes, particularly out in this area. So it's really interesting, that you could be anywhere on the boat. You could be sort of distracted or whatever, and all of a sudden you notice a change, and that's part of getting the feeling. And in life, it's the same thing. Is you get a feel for it, like something's different, and it's different because there's a difference in feeling. And the feeling's not in life. It's not telling you, that there's something wrong or something happening out in your circumstances, but it's just saying there's a shift in your thinking, which is producing you a different experience. That's it. And another part of sailing is No two boats are acting in the same, even though they're in the same ocean, in the same wind conditions, they're acting differently, even if they are look, of the same class, because their point of view or their point of where they're sailing from is slightly different. So it's like with us, we can't compare other people to us because our conditions and our and are different. Our points of view are different. We're 8 billion unique individuals. We're all different. So how does this get into this idea of flow state? The Wu Wei, the article I've been writing about, is it's a state where you fall into, but you don't do it on purpose, in the sense of, okay, I'm going to get into the zone. No, you fall into it as you are participating. And it's hard to explain, because when you're in it, you're sort of in it, because time goes by. There's no sense of effort. Everything seems effortless. But it's only on reflection that you realize, oh, I must have been in the zone. And it's really, again, about us paying attention in the present moment. When you sail, you have to be present. You can't be thinking about, okay, 10 minutes from now, or even an hour from now, how am I going to be? No, you have to get there. Yes, you can anticipate, you can think about it, and all this other kind of stuff. But until you get to that point, until you get to that waypoint that you've put into your chart, you have no idea what the conditions are going to be in. But there's something that you can trust in the design of your boat, the design and the skills that you have, that whatever those conditions are, when you reach that point, you'll be more than capable of handling it. And the other thing I like about the sailboat analogy, and I'm switching back between metaphors and analogies, is that sailboats are designed when things are really, really hard, like the wind is blowing really hard and you're having a hard time keeping on course, and you need a kind of a break to get things resorted out. Well, you can actually let go of everything. You can let go of the sails. You can let the sails fluff. You can let go of the tiller. And when you do so, the boat naturally uprights and points itself into the wind, and then just sort of rests there. And that gives you a break. And that's one of the things I love with the understanding is that it points to the fact that we have built-in settling mechanisms within us. We are designed to settle. We're resting in mental health. So when we notice, again, in the feelings, if we notice in the feelings something has changed, like I'm feeling overwhelmed or I got lots of anxious thoughts going through my head, we can let go of everything and just allow it to settle until we get some clarity. And then we can decide, okay, maybe I need to change course. Maybe I need to. But if we're always struggling, trying to fight the currents, fight the wind, then, it's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of effort. So I hope you find this helpful. If you have any other questions, I know I probably butchered a lot of things out of it, but I might even confused you more. But reach out and we can have a conversation about learning how to sail. And that actually brings up a quote. I'll just finish with this quote I got from a friend of mine. And it's by Louise May Alcott, who wrote the books, a series of books of Little Women. I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning to sail my ship. And Sid Banks sort of almost said the same thing, in the sense of, if we could learn not to be afraid of our experiences, that alone could change the world. So, yeah, start participating and get a feel for it. Thanks for watching.